Friends, thank you. It's a privilege to be sharing stage with somebody as accomplished as Mr. Sanyal. And it's something that I feel really proud of because I've shared this table space with him in private many times in Singapore. And I never expected to do this in Delhi on a book launch when we ever met because at that point of time, I was a lost ship. This was many years ago. And from that time to where we have come, it's been a very satisfying journey. And I feel that a lot of things have come together. And I think Parth at Juggernaut, when he first reached out to me 2 years ago, I was not confident that I would write something put together because the day job is quite taxing as well. I must say that Parth is not just my editor, but my co-author on this work. Thank you, Parth. And though this book comes out in my name, there are a lot of people who I've named and for obvious reasons not named in this book. And a few people I owe a deep sense of gratitude. The first person is, of course, Indy, as I'm forced to call him. This book wouldn't have been possible without his role. He's an American. You will get to know him more when you read the book. And then there's another blogger friend, media friend called Jason Felch. He's another author. And if you do have a chance, if you find art theft as an interesting work, you should read his book, Chasing Aphrodite, which is more an academic work on Italian antiquities. Of course, I should also mention Michaela Bullen, the Australian, who was instrumental in taming the Australian government into submission by her explosive exposes in the press when nobody dared to write about art theft in a big way. Today we are here. I'm really happy that I see a lot of friends here and new faces. I hope I can run you through. It's not going to be a boring one. It's just going to be a precursor to what you will see inside the book. I know it's expensive to print a lot of plates in the book, so you will see very few photographs in the book. So I'm just going to show you a few things. It's going to be very quick. Now, this was a headline, and I would like you to look at it and try to think, when would this be a headline in India? And this was a paper in Delhi in April of 1986. And we see such cases every decade. And it's quite surprising that we've not got even a single book or a detailed work. And that's why I think we chose to tell the story so that the Kapoor case doesn't pass off as a similar event in history. Just to take you, I promise I will keep it non-technical, but then I just want to share this photograph. This is a Janus figure. And in the art world, we call people like Subhash Kapoor a Janus figure, the sense that they know the past and the present, and they rather tom-tom it in their circles. The sense that Kapoor knew where the thefts happened. So he was not a innocent, good faith purchaser dealer. So I'm just going to show you how this murky world operates. So there he is. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a good resolution photograph to print. And there he is. And behind him are two of the most important bronzes that actually helped us crack this case. You'll be quite surprised to know that, like matchmaking, today dealers use social media. Like prospective grooms searching for brides, these dealers are soliciting purchases, sharing robber photos on WhatsApp and social media. And this is one such robber photo of the Nataraja that was bought by the Australian Museum, stating that it was sold prior to the 1970 UN convention. And obviously from the photos, it doesn't look like it was outside India by that time. And it was bought for $5.1 million by the National Gallery of Australia. And you know today's exchange rate, but they bought it in 2006. Not only this, because of our work and the work of Jason and Michaela, we managed to access a few more robber photos. These are two Dogadians, metaphorically and symbolically meant to protect the god, and here they've been crudely uprooted from their place. And you see the screen behind it is actually a dhoti. And this was a robber photo that was offered to Subhash Kapoor, and the details are there in the book. And they're still in Australia. Despite this evidence, we are not able to bring them back because we don't have a source photo of where it was stolen from. It makes matters worse. Now it's a dhoti. Now it's a lungi. Gunny sacks. So this is how the murky world operates. Now, to the key, if there was a hero in the story, it's these two bronzes. A matched pair, unheard of, coming for sale. They were offered for $8.5 million. But a crucial bit of evidence came up when these two bronzes were cleaned and exhibited for sale. And as luck could have it, we had one of our volunteers visit the gallery, and they could take a photograph of what was in the pedestal. For those who know Tamil, both the bronzes were inscribed Suttavalli. Unfortunately, over the passage of time, the village came to be called Suttamalli. So at that point of time, we couldn't find a lost spot. But then you will find this crucial bit of evidence in the book. And this eventually led to a lot of things falling in place. Parth talked about how difficult is our job. We have no archive worthy of mention in India, despite us signing the 1970 UN Statute, which calls for source countries to build an archive and also publicize theft databases. The only known archive that is probably stands trial in court is the Huntington Archive and the French University Pondicherry's photographs. And when we were doing this work, they had not digitized the archive. So you had these small bin cards, about 180,000 of them, neatly arranged in wooden stacks, where you indent for each stack of 1,000. And if you want a Nataraja, you will get 4,000 Natarajas to go through at this size. You pick it, and then probably they'll get you the slide, and then you enlarge it to find. And this was how we tracked down a lot of the matches. Physically going there, sitting down, running through hours and hours of dusty 1960, 90, 70 fieldwork images. So I just take you through three cases which we discuss. So this was the Virudhachalam Ardhanari. It's a town that's very close to my hometown. And it's such a beautiful sculpture that people fail to realize that two of its main hands are broken. It's such a beauty. It's a published work. It's published in major publications, including Douglas Barrett's book on Chola bronzes. And it was something that I'd studied for my blog in 2008, not realizing that it had already left India's shores in 2002. And the funny part was, this was the robber photo circulated by the thieves, which we're revealing for the first time today. It was sold for almost $1 million to the Art Gallery of New South Wales. And Jason managed to publish the link saying that this was bought from Subhash Kapoor. The moment I saw this photo, I knew it was very familiar. It was my favorite object. So I went to social media and asked friends, anybody from Virudhachalam? So we had one of our volunteers go there within half a day, expecting to find an empty niche. But what we found there was shocking. There was an idol in the niche. And for people who are familiar with South Indian temples, you know the niche sculptures cannot be, they're not movable. You need to remove the superstructure to, so obviously somebody had made a replica, and it was such a poor replica in the sense that the sculptor had actually recreated the broken hands, but then failed to go to the next village. Normally, the Ardhanarishwara, the hand should be on the Nandi. He put it in Abhaya, and this left hand should be folded like this. The moment I saw this, I knew it was a fake. And then Michaela went over. The same Art Gallery of New South Wales, in its own library, had the book with the published work. So that was the amount of due diligence a premier museum had done. So we managed to prove the theft case. Androdyne, he or she was shipped back by the Prime Minister, received, and there you see him standing next to the PM. And I guess that's a cue for you to clap. So the next case was a little more tough. This was a Nataraja, again, the one that you saw the robber photo from. It was taken, and this is the priest who was maligned by the police. They felt he was complicit, and there you see him worshipping an empty shrine from where the Nataraja was taken. And in fact, he made an impassioned plea saying that the rains have failed, the gods have left us, bring us home, when we went and saw him. So this was the robber photo the robbers had peddled. It was in Subhash Kapoor's catalogue. It was on display in the National Gallery of Australia for $5.1 million. And there was a confusion which temple it was from, because there were two Natarajas, in fact 3 Natarajas stolen. And Indian government was not clear which was which. So one of our volunteers went down, took a high resolution photograph, and we managed to find a match from the French Institute, Pondicherry. But when we found a match, the curator basically said, there are hundreds of Natarajas, everything is the same, looks same. So we managed to match about 33 breakages, because these are done in the lost wax method. And instead of giving it to him, we published it on YouTube. So if you have internet connection, it's still live. You go to Return of the Dancer, you will see what we did. And it embarrassed them so much that it was also brought on the same plane, but not on his plane because it was too heavy. So a separate plane brought back the 2 sculptures. But wait, don't clap. He went back to the same village, installed in the same place from where he was stolen, and this was what the villagers did. So the ruined temple, when the Lord came back, it was such a celebration for them. So I'm just going to take you another 2 more minutes. So this was another classic case wherein this image was reported as stolen in a database, which is very, very rare. But the guy who rendered this in PDF, wherein the proportions were all distorted. So we couldn't find a match. So this was the robber photo, beautifully photographed on Subhash Kapoor's catalogue. The catalogue was written by an art expert. I don't want to name them now. Bought by the Singapore Museum. And again, one of our volunteers managed to send us the advertisements in a popular magazine, again curated by a celebrated Padma awardee. It was up for sale. It was bought by the Singapore Museum, ACM. That was the original image from the French Institute. The moment we got the lead from our source that it was sold by Kapoor, we went back and checked, and that's when we found that a stupid resizing had actually put us off track. And we managed to be creative. We said Nataraja back from Australia, wife stuck in Singapore. So we made all the right noises. And finally, she also came back. Last one. This was another quite unique case in the sense that the image was transposed. So this was a slide. So obviously, this was the right image. So this was pushed for sale and it led us up. We were searching for a Valamburi. So we couldn't find it. And then we just wanted to go and check the original image. And as luck could have it, we managed to find the robber photos. Again, it had all the necessary certificates. You will see what the certificates mean in the book. It was bought by the Toledo Museum. And surprisingly, Subhash Kapoor sold this bronze for less than $300,000. But then he donated in cash $500,000 to the museum in the same year. He also donated 200 terracottas, including Chandar Ketugar terracottas, to the museum. So it defies logic why a dealer would make a sale for 300 and then gift 500. And for us, again, a tech guy, a close friend of ours, was there. We were scanning for recent purchases. This was purchased in 2006 when there was a small blemish in the Ganesha's trunk. I'll show you the photo in the last. So again, we went to YouTube, published the match. The museum contacted the Indian High Commission, did not receive a response for 6 months. Then they wrote to the Indian ambassador, did not get a response for 8 months. They put these 2 letters on their website because we were chasing them. Finally, they handed it over to Homeland Security. And when the Prime Minister went there, he was returned, again taken back to the temple site. And to us, the biggest plus point was just these 2 blemishes. A proper archive could help us solve an easy case. So it again goes to the important thing. Please photograph and archive our temples. We can bring it back. I'm going to leave you with this image. It's a very sad story. You see the Nataraja's left hand has been crudely sawn off. And for that, you need to buy the book and read. Thank you.